can't hear myself, by the way.
I can hear
Can you hear me? Welcome to John T. and Doc T's show. We have a special show tonight for you with two great friends and guests, John Albino and Stephen Keller. Welcome to our show. And tell us a little bit about yourself, John.
Hello there.
Hello, everyone. Listen, thanks for having us here.
You're welcome.
We had a chance to visit, you and I, about a week or so ago over at your facility, which, by the way, is Bulletproof Studios in Hazlet, New Jersey, on Route 35 in Hazlet, which is there's Keyport, there's Keensburg. It's kind of the upper arm of the Jersey Shore, so to speak. And I have to say, I was very, very pleasantly surprised isn't the right word, but that's what I'm going to use. I was very pleasantly impressed, I should say. There it is. I was pleasantly impressed with the facility. Tell us about what all you do at Bulletproof Studios.
Well, most people are most people really are surprised before they get, they get there and they're getting the impression that it probably isn't exactly what we tell people it is.
Right.
And then they kind of walk in and it's a little bit of a shock. It's a great shock.
It is.
It's a great place. It's a great place to work. It's a great place to hang out. It's a great place to have shows, which, gets to the point of like recording. We do, records there. We do video. We do shows. We do special events. We also have a school there. There's plenty of things to do. It's all musical. It's all art, very, very, like, really fully into the arts. So, it's a great place to kind of stretch out and be creative.
That's a great way to put it, because I have to tell you, even the vibe, folks, if you ever have a reason to get to Bulletproof Studios, again, Route 35 North in Hazlet, New Jersey, if you ever have a reason to get over there, and you just might coming up soon, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes, because there's something, you talk about events, John, you've got a good one coming up that, bears discussion. But if you ever have a chance, folks, to get to Bulletproof Studios, the first thing you're going to notice is the place has a vibe to it. It legitimately does. A musical vibe, a Beatles vibe, a bit of a British vibe, but there's more to it than just that. There's all sorts of memorabilia, low and high in the place when you walk in. From the foyer, the entry area, down the hall, up the hall with the teaching and the classrooms, and certainly over toward the studio side where there's just so much to see. Whether it's instruments, whether it's memorabilia, and I can't even imagine how it is when there's actual activity, music going on there. Tell us about some of the stuff that has gone on there recently, or of note in general.
Selective stuff.
Stephen Keller, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Well, actually, talking about recent and what's going on,
Sure.
We've got an event coming here on Saturday, and Steve's band Ripped is having a record release party. We've been talking about it a good long time. Even before the record was done, Steve was talking about, I want to have my record release party here.
Yeah.
And, I can understand, it's just, like I said, it's a great place. It's got such a great vibe. So now that the record's been done, that's going to be this Saturday. And they actually have a special guest band that will be warming the band up.
John's Crossing.
Yeah, John's Crossing, which is our band. We're going to be
Nice.
there.
Cool.
Usually every year we do a Christmas show, but we've been so busy, there's been so much going on that didn't really get a chance to plan this out.
Right.
So, we did want to play. We did want to play at the studio before the end of the year. So we talked about it. I said, well, how do you feel about, maybe us coming in and just, doing a set? And he was fine with it. The band seemed to be fine with it. I talked to our guys. Our guys said, that's great. It's not going to be a Christmas show, folks.
Oh.
It won't be a Christmas show, but I mean, it's going to be decked out with tons of Christmas decorations. There might be one Christmas song.
Okay.
somewhere.
There might be. I don't know.
There
Might be two. You never know.
You never know.
We ran it by Steve, and I know he kind of gave it like a 1.3. So
So you were basically the East German judge, putting up the bad number.
No, not at all. But I do tell you, sitting on this panel is like being on the Last Supper.
I think it's like
Stephen, tell us about your record. Tell us about what's going on.
Well, we recorded the entire project for the hard way at Bulletproof Studio.
Oh, right on.
We filmed our video, which you can see on the Fuster Cluck show, Down and Dirty. That's the Johnny Z. I believe it might have been his final interview. You can find that with the RIP video on YouTube. I'm going to back up to the vibe of Bulletproof Studio.
Absolutely.
Paul Veneer, who's a friend of everyone's here, right?
Yeah, he's a friend of the station. He's a friend of you guys.
John invited me to talk about doing a show that he produces. It turned into a show called Fuster Cluck. It's an anything show. It's music. It's we interview. We do skits. It's whatever we want it to be that minute.
Right.
But I asked Paul if he wanted to join us, and he came to the studio like you did, walked in the front door and said, "I'm in."
Yeah.
No convincing for Paul.
I get it.
But yeah, about the record, we recorded the entire project there. Just step into inspiration is the motto, and you do. You're there. It's just the vibe, the atmosphere, the creativity, the positivity, all the activities.
Yeah.
Just flow. Yeah.
And I have to say that's one. Well, not one of. That's the first thing that hit me right in the head when I walked in. It was last Tuesday, about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Nothing going on but the rent. And I'm like, okay, so here we are on 35 North in Hazlitt, beautiful Hazlitt, New Jersey. Sun's out, good day, traffic's not too heavy. Oh, look, we're going to go into this little shopping plaza here, and oh, there it is. Okay, walked in, and wow.
Blew your mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, holy fright, just wow, and then getting, again, the synopsis, the story, the bullet, if you will, about the bullet. Thank you very much. Get it? Bulletproof. About here's what it is, here's what we do, here's what we've done, here's what we can do, here's what we'd like to do. And, here we are, man. I mean, this is that's what it's all about.
Yeah. So yeah, the place is great for like John said, it's a school, it's a store, it's a place to learn, it's a place to share. We film there. Fuster Cluck is there. That's Paul Veneer, myself, Franco Frasetti, and John is the producer. And I try to drag him on camera as much as possible. He resists, but we get him.
I'm usually bobbing and weaving. At that point.
But yeah, step into inspiration is really the way to put it. It's truly inspirational.
That's positive. You had something.
Well, speaking of all the things it can do, to give you an example, this weekend alone, between just Saturday and Sunday, we actually have 3 events.
Wow.
Yeah, we've got 3 events, and something that you guys wanted to talk about, which was the Ultimate Santa Spectacular. Which is it's an amazing thing that we have put together.
I know him, by the way. Just so you know.
Well, yeah,
John
he
or
knows you
Santa?
too.
I know a guy.
Oh, I know Santa. Come on, man.
He actually said when he's here, he doesn't want you there.
Oh, wow. Santa, that's a little hurtful, and you may not be invited to this Sunday's Pancake Social. Okay.
But we put this Ultimate Santa Spectacular thing together, and the room is just so decked out so beautifully. I mean, it's so magical. We bring in the big chair for Santa. Santa comes in. the decorations, the lighting, everything
Yes.
about that room just turns into magic. And what's really nice about it is that Santa himself plays guitar.
No.
So when he comes in, he's playing, when you come into the place, Santa's playing guitar for you. He's actually playing, we have elves that sing.
Oh, my.
Yeah, we have elves that sing.
Singing elves, Gene.
And
Can you imagine?
We need singing elves around here.
Can you imagine?
What do they do the other 11 months?
I don't know.
We need to talk.
Does the elf want to be a
we just don't
singer,
let
or
him-
does she
we
want to
don't
be a
let the elves
dentist?
hang decorations on the tree. 'Cause we'll let him. It's a pretty amazing thing, and
Nice.
what it is, it's a very, very personal thing. If you want to come in, you bring your children, and you get 15 minutes with Santa.
Oh, my.
So he's playing guitar. He's playing songs. You have a personal thing with him.
Yeah,
You
you're
can
not
sit,
pushed
you
through.
talk.
Right.
It really, really is something. Pictures are taken by Franco himself, who's just a masterful, a photographer and videographer. I mean, this guy's just amazing. He's going to be there. Mr.
Well,
Steve
I
Keller
tell you
will be
what,
there.
just today, John, I don't even know if you're aware, the Angry Corpses, a hardcore band, just released a video today that Franco was part of the production of. And he produced our Down and Dirty video, and the photography, oh my goodness. Yeah, Franco Frasetti, he's the man. We got it all at Bulletproof. I say we like I have something to do with anything. I go there,
Well, you're French, right? Yeah. So you say we a lot.
It's all mine.
You don't even get coffee or anything. You just show up.
I just show up.
You take credit.
I'll be honest, John. If I was down that way, I probably would be at your place a little bit more often because I'm retired. So
It's
I would
my,
be
it's
there
my
all
home
the
away
time.
from home, I'll tell you that.
Well, let's go. Listen, who's coming on Saturday night?
Well, I have me, Jerry Petito in the other room. Shout out to her. My daughter, DJ Danny, who Steve knows, and you'll meet her. And my wife, Sandy DiPiero, a children's book author.
Okay, great. Well, listen,
And John Kent. So.
yeah, we were talking about it. What's the thing that you're doing?
I've got my twin grandsons. It's their first birthday celebration. And no, they're not going to remember a thing.
That's to
other-
be quite a
many to
memory
say
for
hi?
those kids.
You know she's going to come in
Hey,
and say
Jerry.
hi.
Hey guys!
Look, it's the NBC dancing in.
Say hi.
The Dancing Jerry.
So maybe for the third birthday, I'll have to just have the party at Bulletproof.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Have them come in. And
We've
do
had
the,
comedy shows there. I say we again. A wedding.
Who got married?
That's right.
Peggy Sue.
That's right. We actually had a full blown wedding.
Wow.
In that room, and it was really an amazing event, which included music,
I would hope.
everything. I mean, whatever weddings, it's been a little while with me for weddings, but whatever weddings entail,
yeah.
we were able to actually do that.
Let me ask you this hypothetical question. What do you do with all the instruments and wires? Are they all out of the way when people do these events?
Well, you know what it is. When you do the event, the place started out. It's got 16-foot ceilings. It's a big room.
Yeah.
And it was made initially with the idea of doing major recording. So you've got some room there. So when we do events, depending from videos to shows. A lot of the stuff that's on the floor, right before it goes on the floor, we put it all away. And when you say put it all away, it's not like you can actually put that stuff on a shelf. So we have a winch, and a lot of that stuff we grab and we hook onto a winch, and we
Beautiful.
bring it up into the balcony.
There you go.
And then what that does is it clears the room.
Beautiful.
Except for the baby grand piano.
Well, you got it. Yeah, that's a little big.
Yeah, no.
And a little heavy.
So
one of them.
Even on
myself.
wheels, it's heavy.
So just like that, we're even when it comes to his show coming up, we're going to clear that room. Just make sure there's plenty of room, and it's an amazing thing because in one day it could be a recording studio, like you said, with 1 million wires and amplifiers all
Yeah,
over the place. And
yeah.
all of a sudden, the next day it's just a completely cleaned out room.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen when Santa's going to be there on Saturday,
Yes.
and then when he's done, the whole room just changes over, and it has to be mic'd up for a very, an amazing thing is going to happen. A little surprise. We can start telling people it's going to be recorded live. His band's going to be recorded live, and then do their live record there.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
So everything has to change. All of a sudden, amplifiers up, drums back up, everything has to be mic'd up, everything has to be sound checked prior to all this happening, so we can get a great beat on the band.
Right.
And that's how it's done. And then at the end of the night, everything is broken down again.
No, because
And
you're
then
going to on
we
Sunday.
have a Christmas event on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
Well, I was road crew, so I know what that's all about. But I wanted to ask you, John, has there been anybody significant that our listeners or viewers would know that visited your studio? And I'm sure there has been.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's been a few, but, as of recently, and they still come in, MOD did their record there, and now I believe they're Angry Corpses, right?
Angry Corpses. Like I said, the video release, Kill the Bully, came out today. I'm in that. I helped cast a few of the people in that.
Okay.
It's just everything. I mean, you walk in there, you got your hard rock, your blues, your heavy metal, your
I love it.
your
I love it.
your jazz,
I love it.
your funk. You got your hardcore, and it's inspirational to every one of those.
We have a friend at Sue Bloom that's promoting Voodoo Moonshine.
Yeah.
And they're an amazing
Rock
rock
out of Florida.
heavy
They
metal
are just-
band.
They are tight, yeah.
And what I wanted to do with you a long time ago, Steve and I were talking about putting together a heavy metal radio show where we can showcase the bands like that because they don't get a lot of airplay, obviously, unless it's a heavy metal station. So people that listen to my station, Hamilton Radio, will appreciate the music more because they're already listening. And it's not like nothing we never played before. We do play it every now and then. But we don't have a lot of bands that we can throw out like that, like John's Crossing type of music. Can you tell us a little bit about your music as well?
Well, I mean, listen, I come from, the school of, hard rock to heavy metal. And, my views on how I felt about life and how I felt spiritually had changed. When they changed, I was doing a lot of serving and worshiping in churches. And I felt that there could be something more. And there was a situation that happened in my life. I actually seen a miracle happen, and it was really dear to me because it was my daughter. I seen something happen with my daughter.
Nice.
And I literally could not believe what I seen, and I actually just said to the Lord, I just said, well, if you help me with this situation with my daughter, I'll glorify you in music. And when I seen it, the whole story is I seen a miracle, and all of a sudden I just went, uh-oh, I just made a promise. So I kept with my promise. I mean, I love what I do. I mean, we can write for basically anyone, but where my heart is in Christian music. That Christian music is a little bit different, though.
Harder edge.
Listen, and God bless all the bands that do what they do, but it's not, John's Crossing is not a cookie cutter band. It's more like I guess, we always speak about it's more like a Led Zeppelin, Stone Temple Pilots.
That's what he was saying. I love that
Nice.
stuff. I love that stuff.
And the words are more testimony, which is very cool. Like everybody loves testimony, right? Everybody loves testimony about their lives. People can relate to that.
Of
They,
course.
No matter if it's Christian music or it's secular music, people just love when people tell the story about what goes on with their lives because then they can relate to it.
Absolutely.
And basically, that's what that music is about. And listen, we plan on making more records. I'm just about to get back into the studio really soon again. And listen, I'm also working with some great songwriters. I mean, the future's looking really, really good when it comes to the studio. My outlook looks amazing when it comes to writing and recording again, and looking forward to it.
See, that's the ticket. I mean, similarly, and I think the vibe, here's the word again, the vibe, but the vibe I pick up from you with all of this is, you know what, do what you like and like what you do. And you do that, you put the passion first, the rewards will come. And whatever those rewards may be, whether it be exposure, whether it be notoriety, whether it be financial, whether it be whatever, and it seems to me as if this is the path that is being gone down, so to say.
Well, look, I learned these things from my own father. We all work hard. We all work hard. But he had said, look, life is also about enjoying and doing what you really want to do. And listen, this studio has been around for 23 years. It survived, we talk about it all the time, it survived many things. It survived the recession, it survived the stock market crash, okay? It survived COVID,
Right.
okay?
Sandy storm.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah,
in that way.
and it got to a point where I had looked and said, I used to be a musician and a songwriter, and I didn't seem to be doing that a whole lot. Like when I was getting in, again, the old bob and weave, I'm getting in whenever I can, and when I'm getting in, I'm trying to just rush it through and get things to happen. Where now, I'm at a point in my life now. It's time to go back and do what I'm doing, and it seems like all the signs are there to become a songwriter again and a recording artist. So
Nice.
and and let me tell you something. That's a great place to do it. The sound there is amazing.
I kind of, without hearing anything live, just looking and seeing how the whole place from bottom to top is set up, I kind of got I got the impression that it is right and tight relative to things sounding really, really good, really top notch.
Well, bringing Steve into this as an example. Steve loves the place, but also too he's had enough, evidence to see what the place can do.
Right.
So meaning that if you go out on YouTube, there's probably about 4 or 5 John's Crossing videos, and 4 of them are live.
Nice.
So we took those. Those songs, and then we mixed them, of course, in the recording studio. But, and they were tweaked a little bit, right? And and then from that point forward, you get to really hear what the place sounds like.
Yeah.
So for something like that, if I was hearing that, and I would be like, what? I want a piece of that. I want
Right.
I want a piece of that sound.
Of course.
There were other bands that came in, a couple other friends of ours.
Well, Tonal Crush recorded live there.
Tonal Crush came, we would like to say hi to David. David, how are you, sir?
Rock Doc.
But Tonal Crush came in and they did, an EP there, and it sounds great. I mean,
Nice.
I don't say that as a surprise. It's just always like, wow, it sounds great, and so
Right.
they were really, really happy with that. You can look those guys up. You can, again, John's Crossing, you can see us on YouTube.
Right.
There are 4 songs from that place. Also, too, those videos will also show you what the place, the vision and watching the place and seeing what it looks like. It amazes me when I look and say, wow.
Yeah.
What
Well,
the
Down
place
and Dirty from Rip that Franco filmed was also filmed in the performance space
That's right.
with the lighting, the whole 9 yards. And eventually, we're going to release a song called "Eventually" that was filmed there as well.
Coincidence there.
Yeah, right. Eventually, will appear. So, but what a brilliant room! What a brilliant place. Thanks, John.
Right back at me. Listen. Again, I enjoy the place. I especially enjoy the creative side of it.
I bet, yeah.
Like I said, the recording, the songwriting, putting it together, the mixing. That's where I am these days. That's where I was, and for 23 years we did it all.
Right.
And now, like I said, it's to a point where that's where I'm headed. That's where I want to be. And all the signs seem to be that that's what I should be doing. So we're very excited, looking forward to it.
See, and that's the ticket. It's when there's a vision and when there's impetus, wherever the impetus comes from. And I'm a believer that the boss gives us those thoughts, those ideas. you know, the impetus to do what it is we do and think how it is we think. You know, to me, it's just that simple. And that's, you know, without getting over the top about it, but I mean, knowing that, having seen the place, and knowing the things that you do, like the Ultimate Santa Spectacular, and, you know, the launch party events, and you know, the Christmas and the December shows and so forth, it makes total sense. It makes total sense. And if people are into absorbing this kind of entertainment, this kind of experiential entertainment, again, it's Bulletproof Studios on Route 35 in Hazlet, New Jersey. You know, look them up. I mean, you know, you can find them very easily online via search. You know, you can find, again, John's Crossing videos on YouTube, all sorts of stuff on YouTube, I'm sure. And now you mentioned this when I came to visit the other day, but, you know, talk about it again. When you have an event, like a room event where people can come and again, absorb the experience, about how many folks can you accommodate?
It all depends. It all depends on how the place is set up. We did it's funny because you brought up the wedding. We did a wedding, and I think we did 73 people sitting.
Oh my.
Okay. As far as different events like Steve's show, you can do in the main room, you could do 125 standing.
Gotcha.
You know, and it's comfortable. It's actually it's not, you know, it's still, even with those numbers, because we've done these numbers before, even with those numbers, it's still quite comfortable. The place is real. I mean, we built the place. That was a interesting thing. We built the place from the ground up, meaning when I say from the ground up, there was a ground.
Oh.
Okay. Nothing that you seen in there was there.
Right.
There was a front glass, there was a back, and there were sides.
Wow.
But it was a completely open, it was a shell.
Yeah.
And so we just went right from the beginning. So it's really, really comfortable. The HVAC, the heat comes up amazing. The AC comes up. It's all brand new, so it's just pumping, and it's pumping clean. You know, you don't have to worry about things. You know,
Sure.
like HVAC units are 70 years old. You know, so it's a really comfortable place. So it can do a lot of things. But yeah, also too, remember there's also room in the place in other rooms and stuff, and then you have video screens where you can actually watch the show. Like, if you don't want to go. And it's funny too, I've been to shows where after a while I want to get out of the room.
Yeah,
Just
You know,
whatever.
but then I can go into another room and actually watch the show from somewhere
Yeah.
else.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
I want to discuss a cool thing. When we were filming a scene from the movie The Gilbert Diaries, Rip is actually cast in that movie from our friend Paul Veneer and Frank Modica and Janet. Wonderful comedy. And John's in it as well. And we filmed a pivotal scene about Ripped, the fictional Ripped and the real Ripped. You know, I'm a little bit of both. Sometimes everything feels fictional, but it's real. But anyway, we filmed a scene in that room, and then for the soundtrack, we filmed a song by request. I filmed a song, recorded a song, and John is so hands-on. He came in and contributed to the production of the song.
beautiful.
Yeah, so we're in the movie. We're on the soundtrack. It's very cool. The Gilbert Diaries. Look for it, folks.
Yeah.
I love his easy, laid-back attitude because, you know, but you're so involved with everything. It's like, you know, you're the mastermind of everything that's around you. It's like you're the Wizard of Oz type of thing. I know you don't think yourself that way, but it's the way we see you. That's the way I see you.
No, it ain't. No, listen, it ain't easy at all. And like I said, that's why.
Another stripe, another gold star.
At this point, that's where you know, I started making decisions of what I want to do and where I want to go. You know, and the facility is an amazing place. But now I want to concentrate on that. Like I said, 23 years, folks. 23.
That's amazing.
Years.
That's amazing.
And listen, we love the place, but that's where my heart is. That also means that, you know, when it comes to videos, you have the Fuster Clock show. These are still things that I want to be involved in, you know, because we kind of started all this and it was a brand new thing, and it really is a lot of fun. These guys are just great.
Yeah.
They've got a great attitude. They're really funny, and we bring on everything from actors and actresses to some of the great rock and roll musicians from the 70s to 60s all the way up till today.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we've got access to some really, really, really great people who want to come on to the show. And we're watching that grow too now, which is really, really, really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
The word gets out, and now all of a sudden somebody says, well, I heard about your show. Now, I would like to do your show.
Right.
Whether it be, and a lot of them, we get them to come to the facility, which is always a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Or we do it via Zoom. Listen, we're not going to fly them in from Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no.
So, but like I said, it's a great place, great experience. And what we always say is even the bathrooms are cool in that place.
I enjoy the bathroom.
Are the
actually, once in a
urinals
while.
like guitars? Is that what that looks like?
What's that?
Are the urinals like guitars when you go in there? Does it look like a good guitar?
You'll have to stop
No.
by and
Is
see.
it that cool?
No, there's enough guitars hanging around to keep everybody happy.
Listen, I'm just fun away. But I want to ask you, and I'm going to ask you, Steve, too. What are some of your influences growing up for music to bring this music out to what you're doing?
Paul Veneer.
No, I'm talking me. No, I love
But it
Paul.
is.
It is. It's Paul Veneer for you?
It kind of is. That's the funny thing.
Really?
John will tell his own story.
Go ahead, John.
Well, you mean Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul was in a band which was like they were like a kind of a local hero band. You know Paul Veneer,
Salty
everybody here
Dog,
knows
right?
Paul Veneer.
Yep.
He's the tornado man. He
does everything.
He's the man. And he was in a band called Salty Dog, and I was a kid, and it was funny too because it was very much easier to sneak into places. When I was 15.
Exactly.
No, you could be, I was 6'3" at 15, so somehow or another I got away with that. I
Right.
would even go up with an ID, and they say, what's your birthday? And then all of a sudden I would go, well, September 10th, and they go, well, that's close enough. Go ahead. You so Paul would play, and they were like, again, they were a local hero band, Salty Dog, and I would just go in, and they were amazing, just absolutely amazing. And then from that point on, all through that, I started playing. I'm not going to give you my whole history, but I started playing when I was 12. So my heroes were everything from the Beatles to Led Zeppelin, which is actually one Led Zeppelin song was the reason why I actually started playing guitar.
Wow.
Well, I was in Catholic school and I heard a song out the window, and then I just that's now I know what my destiny's going to be.
It was literally calling you, is what it was.
And that goes from Black Sabbath all the way to
Yeah.
Judas Priest.
Yeah.
I was a huge Judas Priest fan. So I was really into the harder stuff.
Sure.
And that's it. That's my brief history of like exactly what my influences were, and everything in between. There's certain things too. And remember something too. Back then, we all had influence that nobody wanted to admit.
Yeah, I know.
We all had that too. And it's
What do you
like-
mean you like ambrosia? Wait, whoa, hey, don't hate.
And you see, and it's funny
They're
too
still a
because we
good
talk
band.
about it. You see a great that idea where you see somebody who's denying it. If everybody remembers the movie Tommy Boy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and when they're sitting in the car and the Carpenter song comes on,
Yeah.
and they're basically making fun of it and saying, "Well, you could change the channel," and then down the road they're both screaming the song out. So it happens to all of us, and a lot of times you don't want to admit it.
I saw Barry Manilow about 4 years ago.
That's great.
It's
Yes,
unbelievable.
I
I knew word for word 19 of 20 songs.
Oh,
He threw in one zinger.
Wow.
we all do. We all do. We just would. It was the whole idea.
gotta
Let's face it, guys. Back
Yeah.
then, if you admitted it, you took a chance of
Yeah.
getting your ass kicked.
You're right.
Well, the night is young.
You're right. You're right. I even admit that I like Ron Dante's Sugar Sugar, it's a song I grew up with. It's,
Oh, honey,
it's
honey.
bubblegum pop, but it's still the song. Good.
Well, and you mentioned Barry Manilow. I mean, summer of 1978. I think I heard. What was it? The
You want to say something?
oh, come
I
on.
know you did.
The
And I sang the whole interview.
I think we heard what her name was Lola. She was a showgirl. What was the name of that song? I think we heard that 2,395 times.
Oh, absolutely.
Copacabana. In summer of '78, you know, and then
At the
I went back to school. You know, to football practice. We have 3 a days starting in August, and you know, sitting around the office there, somebody had the radio on. Her name was Lola. What are you singing? Nothing. I'm good.
Hey, by the way, guys, can we play some of your music for Down and Dirty? I think,
Absolutely.
Ruben's got that cued.
Well,
Ruben,
Down
can
and
we
Dirty,
play
you got
that?
it cued. This was recorded at Bulletproof Music Studios, and we're really happy with the way everything turned out. J.R. Sansone was the engineer. We dedicated the album to him. He passed away about a year and a half ago, and it's a very sad loss. But he did such a great job with our music. I think Ripped and John's Crossing were the last 2 acts that J.R. worked on, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was one of the last one of the last songs that he actually did was I had made. Somebody had asked me to write a song for an award show, and you know, it got like, yeah, no problem. We're gonna have it. We're gonna have it.
course.
And as time went on and on and on, and that song was not there, it never came to be.
Oh.
Then I was down to, I think I was down to about a week. And somebody said, you know, can you have it by the end of the week? And I went, you got it.
Oh,
you know,
my.
you say, you're like, what am I going to do?
What are we gonna do? What are we
So
gonna
I,
do?
yeah, so I, you know, I basically just said, my goodness, man, you know, at this point, you know, like Johnny Z used to say, you know, no filler song, no filler. It's got to be good.
Yeah.
And at
No
this point,
pressure.
at this point, I was hoping for a B- or a C+. So we put the song together, and we literally put the song together in the studio, sitting in a room, coming up with the parts, then just going in and just starting to lay the parts down.
Nice.
And somehow or another, we became really blessed and really lucky that somehow or another the song came out really good.
It's
probably
that
one of our-
room.
yeah, it was probably one of our better songs.
Oh my gosh.
And you know, he was there, and it was a tough one because he was working with those guys. He was working on this song, and to be able to do that kind of thing, I guess that's the hype, where you got nothing, and then all of a sudden, you know, within 3-4 days,
Right.
now you have, not only do you have a song, but you've got a song that actually is good, and then recording it and then mixing it, and that hype for him was amazing. He loved,
Nice.
you know, because that's I guess that's that risky thing that goes on
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Then all of a sudden you get something, and you're like, wow, you know, we just kind of threw this all together, and look at what happened. So he was really, at that time, he was really psyched to be doing more of that kind of thing.
Nice.
Right before he passed away. But yeah, we were the last guys. I think that might have been his last song. That was the last song, I believe, that he actually recorded.
I'll be darned.
But you know, John, the way you just described how that song came about in that room, I picture it right on the bench there, right there in the control room. That was how we recorded Within on the new album. Paul Veneer was sitting there. Paul he's with us all the time. He's a great dude. And Paul was sitting there as we were recording, and he came up with a counter melody line for the song Within. And we were like, that's awesome. But he's telling, you know, instead of us learning to do it, get up and do it. And it was just amazing, just watching him jump up and go in, get it in 1 and 2 takes because it was double tracked. And that room is so inspirational. It just bang, man, you know?
Well, let's see that. Can we see that video?
Yeah.
Let's see that.
Ruben, do we have that video handy? We can have a.
Yeah, let's
have a
do
quick
Down and
piece?
Dirty and let the
Give a
audience.
shout out to Ruben too. He's our working in the back there. He's our
Thank you,
partner,
Rube.
Hamilton Radio and Iron Horse Films.
Do not question the wizard.
Yeah, there you go.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Well, if we're waiting on that, I would like to show you, when we were talking about where influences were
Yeah.
and where we were and stuff. A great one is if you look at that first record.
This one?
Yeah. If you look at who the executive producer is, can you see it?
John Zizzle.
Yeah, John Zazou, Johnny Z from Megaforce Records.
Nice.
Cool.
And when he got to that point, now if you know John and you know his background, everything is just very, very heavy. In fact, thrash metal.
Oh my!
So everything from Metallica on.
Yeah.
And he brought that to the world. But it goes to show you where people kind of go. So by this point, he became an executive producer on a Christian record.
Nice.
He went from one end all
Yeah.
the way to the other.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's amazing how people change. And it's funny too, because when people talk about that kind of thing and they come to me and they're like, well, what happened? What do you mean what happened? You're acting like I did something wrong here.
Yeah. Hello.
It's just,
Sorry.
it's just, what happens is, especially if the spirit just takes over.
I love that.
And that's just the way it is. And it's funny too, because people will also say, "Do you feel weird talking about it?" I'm like, no. You hear me talking about it, so obviously I don't feel that it's something uncomfortable or weird.
Of course.
And look, if we're looking at it, listen, the music has to stand up to it.
Yeah.
The music has to stand up, and Johnny was a firm believer in that record. He just felt like this is where I want to go. In his book, we are actually the last chapter.
Wow.
Yeah, we're the last chapter. Bulletproof Music is the last chapter.
Beautiful.
Nice.
That record is the last chapter. And when you look at his history, all his records, all of a sudden you see the very last record, again, same thing. The very last record that he produced was that record.
Nice.
So it goes to show you what happens.
Wow.
Listen, Christian bands, rock bands, all these bands, they all have a certain similarity together with the music, right? But the lyrics are similar as well. But the Christian bands are more geared, of course, to the Christian audience. But it's a shame because they're geared to the Christian audience, more of the audience don't get to hear it. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest problem. Mm-hmm. And I think because we've done so many Christian bands in here, Ruben and I could tell you tons on Sundays. He's done many, many bands in here that were Christian bands, big people, little people, whatever. They're so multi-talented that it's just unbelievable to not be heard, and yet they're still not heard. And that's part of why we created this radio station. I created this radio station 26 years ago for that reason, to get people noticed, to get people heard, to get exposure to them, so they can blossom from that. And like you said earlier, John, this is all God's doing. This is all God's doing. We're just sitting back and just letting him do what he's supposed to do for us.
Well, that's exactly right. And the gift that I got out of this is he let me write music, anything I wanted.
Yeah.
I didn't have to follow any kind of format. I didn't have to follow any cookie cutter situation. It was, listen, I get to write what I want for him, for the public, for everyone at that point. And listen, if it does anybody any good, that's what it's supposed to be about.
There you go.
But like I said, that's what makes
Who loses?
that's
No
what gets me
losers.
psyched.
There's no loser. Everybody wins.
Right on. Right on. All right, should we give this a go, Ruben? What do you say? Can we?
I think he was ready.
Let's try it this time, shall we? We're just visiting, It's
No,
talking
he was-
about the
he was
music.
ready, he
How
was
could you
ready.
go wrong? Answer. You can't.
He's the producer. As John knows, and you're a producer, you wait for the producer.
That's okay,
Well, listen.
Go ahead.
Oh, we're still waiting?
Nope, he's ready.
Oh, okay.
Everybody quiet.
So excited.
I got this shit the other night.
So, not cutting like the Justin Biebers or any of that stuff, but I'm not sure that they're going to be proud of their music from when they were 17, 18, 19, when they're however old I might be now. Because that song was like written around 1982.
Oh my.
And we really didn't change the words. That's what we had. The difference is now we're focused, and even though I'm writing current songs, we're revisiting old songs from my band Indulgence.
See, that's something I was going to ask you guys too. Do you ever notice that sometimes as a musician, when you're writing stuff, do you think that, I know everything's timing, but do you think that if you just hold off a little bit longer for a certain song, it'll be better in the future or something like that?
I don't know. I think like writing a song, I think if it's a song that takes a year to write, it's probably, I'm tired of it before it's finished.
Yeah.
If the song is a 4-minute song and it took 8 minutes to write, 4 for the music, and then you go back and run through with the lyric, that's a good song.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I don't know, John. Do you know what I'm talking about? The inspiration, when it flows through you,
Inspiration can
it does. It varies.
I know it sounds cliche, but inspiration can come at any time.
Right.
Oh, it does,
Right.
yeah. Sometimes it's lyrics first, sometimes it's music first.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody's different. With me, it's most of the time I'm actually hearing a melody line, and then once I hear a melody line, I put chords to the melody line. So that's how I do it. I know that, and that seems to be a little unorthodox for the most part for people. A lot of guys will write what's known as a riff. They hear a
That's
riff,
probably me,
and then
yeah.
they kind of write off a riff. I don't think I've ever written off a riff, ever. But I know it's a commonplace. And what's funny about it, that concept most of the time does not work. You can't just write "Walk This Way." that's a riff.
Right.
That's just one of those things you just got, it was just, those guys just knew what they were doing at that time.
Right.
And their inspiration for the name of the song actually came from Young Frankenstein, the movie Young Frankenstein.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah, that's right.
where-
That's
Oh,
right.
okay.
Yeah,
That's right.
they had a day off
Yeah.
in the studio, and I think everybody but Steve Tyler probably went to the
Was
movies.
that when Marty Feldman said, walk this way? And
Yeah.
everybody.
They came back and said, I don't care what the lyrics are, but it has to be called Walk This Way.
Yeah, so it can come at any time.
That's so cool.
The danger of that is, listen, and we've all experienced that the point of saying, like, well, let me just wait on this. Maybe it could be better. Maybe it could be better. Maybe it could be better. I've been in the studio, and I've been with some really wonderful people, great producers. And in one particular situation, I had played a lead for someone, and then all of a sudden, I said, well, let me do it again. And, I played it again, and I said, well, you know what? Let me do it again. And that was as far as he was going.
Yeah.
And then I just said, let me do it again. And he looked at me and goes, kid, that's history. Meaning, like, that's it.
Yep.
We're not going to sit here all day, all week. Got it? We're going to go with that.
Well, the thing is, if I may say, mixes, for instance, you're never done until you say I'm done. You can infinitely change over and over, tweak a sound. Put a period and be done. Led Zeppelin's first album, Black Sabbath's first album, pretty quick, And they're great documents. But I want to get back to Down and Dirty. I want to shout out to the writers on that, Colin Tish. We were childhood friends. You got Billy Frank. You got myself that was involved with, we did 10 songs as teenagers with that hard rock and funky bluesy thing. And I still love those songs to this day, and we're talking decades, That's why, even though I'm writing current music, I revisit what we were doing. Almost every album I do a song from that was written in my late teens.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, good is good, period. Whether it's from, 1982 or, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Good is good. Simple as that. Hey, I know we're coming up on a hard stop here. I know folks got places to be and things to do. One more time, if you could, John, give us the happy recap on the Ultimate Santa Spectacular.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this Saturday, starting at 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., we have the Ultimate Santa Spectacular. It will be at Bulletproof Music Studio. The room is decked out to the hilt. I mean, this looks like Santa's Wonderland.
Yeah.
He's going to be there. And your kids and your family get 15 minutes with Santa. Santa will be playing guitar. He will be playing guitar with other people, including me. I'll be playing that day. You've got elves that will be singing, and Santa will be listening to the wish lists of all your kids. It's an amazing event.
Wow.
Franco will be taking all the shots. They are going to be professional shots. They don't get any better than that. Listen, come on down. Come see us. I guarantee you it will be the best Santa experience you've ever had.
What is the start time and the end time of the Santa thing?
Again, it's going to be 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you get 15 minutes with the big guy.
Yeah.
That's 5 hours of Santa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when does RIP go on?
RIP the doors open at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
So you can bring your kids to see Santa Claus, take them out for some wieners and beans, and then come back with the family.
Some wieners and beans.
Is there a wiener and
And
bean
light
place
beer
here?
because they're kids.
We'll find one. But it's going to be, then 7 o'clock doors.
And then when the band comes on, you get a second helping of wieners and beans.
Of course.
By the way, how's that Italian restaurant that's near you?
What,
it
my
Italian?
favorite? They
It's
don't
like
pay
right
me
near
to tell you.
Right near you. There's an Italian restaurant.
Well, I like the steakhouse. What is that, Neil's Steakhouse?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they're not paying me to promote them.
No, that's all right. It's all right.
I mean, maybe next time I'm on here,
Maybe.
we'll do 15 minutes on them.
Maybe
It's
you
up to
mentioned.
them.
Maybe
Neil Michaels, you
You never
listening?
know. Oh my goodness. Wow. Folks, I want to thank you both for coming in. Steve Keller, John Albino, and again, the big deal of the day or of the weekend is the Ultimate Santa Spectacular. Bulletproof Studios. on Route 35 North, Hazlet, New Jersey. Look them up online. You can't miss them. Great facility, and this is going to be a fun event. This is gonna be a
And also,
fun
we,
event.
and also we have the record release for Ripped.
Record
That
release
same
party.
day,
Yeah.
we break down the Santa
Yeah.
thing and we go right into rock and roll mode.
And a mere 3 hours later, dun-dun, let's rock.
Yeah, rock and roll, baby. And I do have a request as we're the show is running out. I request that you play a John's Crossing song. Hopefully, hopefully Ruben has it.
Ruben,
Sing.
do you have a John's Crossing ready to go?
What's that?
I'm asking Ruben, does he have a John's Crossing ready to go?
I don't know. Hey, Rube,
I sent you a link. I don't know.
are you there, sir?
Yeah, but if it's on YouTube, is it on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can just
Yeah,
go to YouTube.
so
Go
it's
to-
all good.
go
I
to
just
YouTube,
wanna-
look for John's Crossing.
John's Crossing.
Because it's all
YouTube
about
it-
sharing.
YouTube it now.
You know
John's
Sharon?
Crossing.
What's that?
Sharon, you know?
I
You
can't.
said sharing or Sharon?
No, it's all about sharing. Just
Okay.
everything.
Sharon, I think I dated her in high school. Yeah, but we won't go
Sharing,
into
Sharon?
Yeah,
What?
no. It's, you know, what? How about those Mets? Hey, great. Okay. Folks, thanks so much. Great session. Again, Ripped, John's Crossing, Bulletproof Studios, the Ultimate Santa Spectacular. Look on any one of the Hamilton Radio and related web pages or Facebook pages, I should say, for some information on that. We'll post and repost, and we'll have the show up, and you can see it and watch it and absorb it and enjoy it whenever you like. Yeah.
Thanks for helping us get the word out.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
guys. Thanks for being here.
NJ.
Thanks, folks. That's Doc G. I'm John T. And we'll catch you next time around the way. See ya.
Bye, everybody.